Today, I'll show you how you can model and analyze data from various sources using Excel with the help of Power Pivot. We'll combine the orders, products, and customers information to find insights around sales figures and returning customers. The data analysis flow will be simple. We'll load the data using Power Query, we'll add the data to our data model in Power Pivot, and then we'll do our analysis in Excel. Before we jump in, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Mo Chen. I've been working with complex big data in the financial services industry for 6 years now. I currently work as a data and analytics analyst, and I'm here to help you become better at data analysis to help you get a better job, more rewarding role, higher pay, etc., so that you can live your dream life. I think that's enough talking for now. Let's get started. All right, so like I said, today we'll be doing some data modeling and data analysis in Power Pivot in Microsoft Excel, and we'll be using data from 3 different sources. So we're going to have the orders fact table, we're going to have a customers dimension table, and then we're also going to have a products dimension table. We're going to do the data modeling in Power Pivot. We'll do some data analysis, and then we'll get some insights, and that's the video. So first things first, I'm in Microsoft Excel, and I am going to open a blank workbook. After I open the blank workbook, you can see that at the top I have Power Pivot. Now, if you don't have this, you just need to enable this feature. So go to File, bottom left, Options, you go to Add-ins, and then you go to Manage. Instead of Excel add-ins, you choose COM add-ins, hit go, and then you can see that I have Power Pivot for Excel already ticked. So let me hit OK. Obviously, if you don't have this ticked, then please tick it and hit OK. And then you'll have Power Pivot. So first things first, we're also going to be using Power Query to load our data and do some very minimal data cleaning. So we go to Data, Get Data, launch the Power Query editor. All right, so this took a couple seconds, and then I'm going to load in the 3 separate CSV files. So there's numerous ways to do this. I just go to Queries and then right-click, New Query, File, and then Text or CSV. And my data is in my Downloads folder. So there we go. So like I said, we have 3 tables, customers, orders, and products. So let me load the orders fact table first. Hit OK, and yeah, there we go. So we have this table in. The data is super clean. There's not much data cleaning here. So the point of this exercise is not to clean data, but to do some data modeling and do some data analysis. So let me load in the second table, File, again, Text or CSV. And this time I'm going to load the customers dimension table. And I'm just going to wait a second, hit OK, and Power Query, it's going to do its thing. And then we can see that the first row should actually be the header. So all you have to do is go to Transform at the top and then use first row as headers. So the moment I click that, you can see that our column titles are correct. And then let me just load the third table from File, CSV, and then it's going to be the products table. So let me just import that table as well. I'm going to hit OK and wait a couple seconds, and I have my products table as well. And that was it, really. So now, one very important thing, you go to the Home tab at the top, and instead of hitting Close and Load, which is the default option, you hit the drop-down arrow and then Close and Load too. So here, I'm going to select Only Create the Connection, and then this is very important, add this to the data model, and then hit OK. So now we're going to wait a couple seconds, and you can see the 3 queries on the right here are loading. So there we go, Power Query loaded our data. So now if I go to Power Pivot at the top and I go into Manage, the data model, you'll see that now we have the 3 tables that we can use in Power Pivot now. Okay, so you can see we have orders, we have customers, and then we have the products table. So let me just quickly run through the data set. So we have the order ID, the date, the customer ID, the product ID, and the quantity of the product. In the orders table, we have a bunch of customer information, obviously, in the customers table. And then we have a bunch of product information, including the profit per unit, which is going to be the focus of our analysis in the products table. Now, another thing we can do, and this is the simple data modeling bit, is that we can go to the diagram view right here. Oh, I just clicked on show hidden first, but yeah, this is the diagram view. So again, there's the data view where you can see all of your data, and then you have the diagram view where you can see your tables and the columns. So all I'm going to do here is connect my tables. So you can see that customers and the orders table, the customer ID will obviously be the field we need to join the tables on. And then the products and the orders table will be connected through the product ID. It's that simple. If you want to check your relationships, you can go to Design, Manage Relationships, and then you can see that all of these are many-to-one relationships, which makes sense. Okay, so let me just close this one right here. And now let me just go back to my data view. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I would like a total profit field that basically multiplies the quantity with the amount of unit profit per the product. So the profit per unit, I can see that I can get it from the products table. So I'm going to multiply this column with the quantity column to get the total profit for that order. So what you can do, and obviously you could do this only in Excel without having to use Power Pivot, is you can use index match or VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. But what I'm going to do here, given that I already have this relationship between the orders and the products table, is I'm going to use the related function. So equals related, and my computer is a bit slow because I'm running a lot of things. But yeah, related, and then I'm going to take the profit value from the products table, that is correct, and I'm going to multiply that with the quantity value from the orders table, and then hit enter. And there you go. You can see that now I have this new calculated column that has the total profit for that order. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this column. I'm going to call it profit with a capital P. And this is going to be my newly created column. Now, another column that I will want to use is going to be a column showing whether or not the customer is a returning customer or not. So the way I'm going to determine this is using the customer ID column here. So essentially, if the customer ID appears more than once, then I know that this customer has ordered at least twice. So it's that simple. Again, I'm going to add a new calculated column right here. And in this calculated column now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a, I would say, fairly complicated function. I'll probably use ChatGPT to explain it to you as well, because honestly, it's the easiest way to learn nowadays. So we're going to use the calculate function. There we go. And then the calculate function essentially just allows us to keep or change the context of our expressions or whatever we want to evaluate. So I'm going to count the rows, which makes sense, right? So it's going to be count rows. And then I'm going to pass in the orders table. So I'm going to count the rows from the orders table. There we go. All except, this is basically going to remove any filtering from the orders table. Yep. And then from the customer ID column, so let me just select that as well, customer ID column. And let me close this. I think I closed it. And I want this to be greater than 1, because I want the count to be greater than 1, meaning that these are the returning customers. And if they are a returning customer, meaning that the customer ID appears more than once in this table, then give me true. And there we go. Power Pivot did it for us. So you can see wherever I see true, that means it's a returning customer, so the customer ID appears at least twice. And if it's false, that means the customer ID appears only once, meaning that the customer is not a returning customer. So let me call this column returning customer, flag, and then that's it. And if you obviously don't know this function, then the easiest way, honestly, nowadays to do this is just to go into ChatGPT, throw in the function, and then ChatGPT will give you a perfect explanation. And I'll actually show you how. So let me just get this function right here. Let me go into ChatGPT. So there we go. And then all I'm going to ask it is explain the below DAX calculation, and then throw in the calculation, and then it'll do a fantastic job in breaking down exactly the formula, the functions, each individual component, and then you can just understand what exactly is happening in the function that you wrote. So ChatGPT finally finished explaining everything. You can see that it explains the components of the formula, it puts everything together, and it even gives you a use case. So great way, honestly, to find explanations or when you just want to search for something. Honestly, this is what I use artificial intelligence for nowadays. It's a quick Google search for me, or it's kind of like a Google search on steroids. And yeah, good way to learn. And I guess speaking of learning, DataCamp is also a very good way to learn. I've actually learned Power Pivot a little bit from there as well. So they've been a partner of mine for quite a while now. You can check them out if you want to. They have courses on, I would say, probably anything and everything. So great place to learn. I use it too. But on that note, let me just jump back into our Excel file and our Power Pivot. Now, one last thing I wanted to do actually is when you go to the diagram view, I can see that I have the ordered date here. But the problem with the ordered date is that if I have some missing dates where people made 0 orders, then I have a gap. So instead of using the ordered date as the date table, what I'm going to do is go to design, and then you can see that Power Pivot gives you this option to generate a date table. So I will use it because it's super simple. So you click on date and then add new, and then I'm adding a date table as we speak. So there you go. You can see that this is my date table. So it has a bunch of information on dates, oh, there we go. Yeah, so you can see that it's got date hierarchy as well, just a bunch of date dimension columns. So what I'm going to do is connect the date to the order date in the orders table. And then now I have a decent star schema, I guess. And this is my data modeling done. So the next thing I'm going to do is we can finally do some data analysis. So go back to the home tab and then go to pivot table. So I'm going to insert a pivot table on a new worksheet. Yeah. Okay, super quick break. And don't worry, this is not a sponsored message. This is a message from me, Mo. If you gained any value out of this video or any of my videos so far, then can I ask you 2 simple favors, please? 1, subscribe to the channel. It helps everything I do more than you know. 2, check out my personal website at mochan.info if you want to grow your data career in the fastest possible way. And first things first, maybe I want to look at the profit, which is probably the most important thing and the thing we wanted to calculate. So let me throw in the profit here. And maybe I want to look at the profit by, let's look at it by coffee type. Sure, yeah, we can look at it by coffee type, and then I guess I can also look at it by roast type. So D, L, and M. So D stands for dark, L for light, and M for medium. So let me just move D last. So it goes light, medium, and dark roast. And then those are my profit figures. You can see that the grand total profit is $4,520. So I'm not a big fan of this formatting, and this is something I can actually change in Power Pivot. So if I go back to the data view, I can go onto my orders table, go onto profit, and then I'll just pick dollars, and then it's just going to format it in dollars for me, which is great. Now, if I go back into Excel, it should just give me the dollars now. So let me just refresh the table. Oh, I didn't even need to refresh. It just automatically did it. There you go. So we have our new values. And another thing we could do, I guess, is we could use the date hierarchy dimension or the date hierarchy field from the calendar table. And then now you can see we have the profit split by the years and the coffee type and the roast type. What I like to do is go into design, report layout, show in tabular form. And how about I just remove the grand totals, the subtotals, and we can quickly create some kind of a heat map. So you go to home, conditional formatting, and then I'm going to choose some color scales. Let's go for green, maybe. Yeah, sure, we can do that. So the darker the green, obviously, the higher the profits, and the lighter the green, or if it's white, the lower the profits. What you can also do with the date hierarchy, obviously, you can break it down. So I'm going to go to expand and collapse, and I'm going to expand the entire field. And then you can see the profit by month. So again, yeah, it's just a quick way to do some analysis, find some high values and find some low values. Okay, so next thing we could do, I guess we could duplicate or copy this sheet. And what I'm going to do now is I just want to plot a line chart based on the coffee types over time and the profits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of rows type. I'm going to move coffee type from columns into the rows, and maybe I'll even take away the months. So let me just go to year, expand collapse, and I'm going to collapse the entire field, and then go to insert, and I'm just going to insert a super simple line chart. And there we go. I have the line chart, and I just realized that obviously I put the coffee type in the wrong place, so I need to move it back to legend. And there we go. We have a line chart with the profit over time for the various coffee types. If you don't like this layout, you can easily change it by going to design. You can choose something different. People love something dark, so you can choose this even with the glowy one. And then you can even choose a quick layout as well. So there's so many layouts here. You can pick one, that you like. I don't know which one I like. Let me just find something. Okay, this looks all right, I guess. You can easily see. So we can see that Robusta on the bottom has consistently performed bad. And then the best performer, I guess, over time has been Liberica. So these are the abbreviations. So ARA is Arabica, Excelsa, LIB is Liberica, and ROB is Robusta, the various coffee types. So that's a second analysis that we can quickly do. And clearly in the date hierarchy, you could drill. So let me just click on plus, and then obviously you'll get all of the months as well. So you have the minus and the plus, and you can drill, and you could drill even further. But obviously, that's super, super granular. So if you just leave it on, I guess, months, it looks all right. But I think if you leave it on years, you can see the trends very easily. All right, so let me just copy this sheet again. And the way I'm copying, by the way, is holding down Control and then literally just dragging and dropping. So let me delete this one now. And I'm going to go to my second sheet, hold down Control, and then I'm just dragging and dropping. So let me remove the line chart because I don't want it. Let me also remove my conditional formatting. So you go to Manage Rules, and then you can just delete the rule, apply, hit OK. And now what I want to see is I want to see some information on my returning customers. So let's grab the returning customers flag, which is in my orders table, put it here. I'm going to set this to true because I'm only interested in my returning customers now. And then how about I take away the date hierarchy, take away the coffee types, and all I'm interested in right now is the customer name. Let me throw in the email as well. And then I'm going to throw in the count of the order ID. So you can see that from the count, you can see that these are all obviously returning customers because the count of the order ID is greater than 1. How about I order the customer name by the count of the order ID to find out which customer ordered the most. So let's see. And it was Bren Dundridge. You can see that Bren Dundridge made 7 orders for a total profit of $29.45. And then you can see the consecutive customers who made more than 1 order in descending order. Now, another measure I guess we could calculate would be the profit per order for all these customers. So you can go to Power Pivot, you can go to the top left and go to Measures, and then New Measure. So this is really simple. All I'm going to do, oh, that's pretty small, isn't it? Let's see if I can make it any bigger. I cannot. So I think I'm going to zoom in on this. And yeah, I'm going to call my measure, let's see, I'm going to call it profit per order. And it's just going to be my profit. So let me see, it's going to be my sum of profit, divided by the count of the order ID. And then it's going to be a currency, 2 decimal places. Let me hit OK. And there you go. Now I can see the profit per order as well. So I can see that I made a typo, but I think I'm okay with that for now. I'm just doing some analysis. So we could, I guess, also order the customer names on the profit per order descending. So we can see that Bryce Romero made only 2 orders and they spent $29.31. So the profit per order was pretty high. And obviously, if you want to drill down, you could just double click and then you see the exact orders on the next tab. So let me just delete this one. Yes, and that's about it. That's a super simple analysis in Power Pivot. We did some data modeling, we did some quick data analysis, finding some returning customers. After, of course, first we did a little analysis on the types of coffee and the roast type, and then we looked at how much profit they generate. We used a little heat map. Then we created a line chart where we plotted the profit per coffee type over time. And in this line chart, we can always drill down as well a level. Anyway, let me just go back up to the yearly data. And on this chart, because, it's just a pivot table, right? So you could, of course, insert a slicer of any type. So if I wanted to add, say, for example, roast type, I could add it on. And then now I have the option to choose between, dark, light, or medium roasts, or I can choose all of them. So that's also an option. It's some quick analysis. We quickly identified that Robusta has been performing in terms of profit generated bad over the years. And then LIB, Liberica, has performed the best over the years on average. And then we just did some analysis on the returning customers. So we found that the profit per order is highest for Bryce Romero, who made 2 orders for a profit per order of $14.65. And the person who's actually made the most orders over time was Bren Dundridge with 7 orders. You can double click and then you can look at the underlying details for each of the orders that Bren made. And like I said, that's about it. Super simple analysis in Power Pivot. We did a little bit of Power Query to load the data, but you can see that I didn't actually leave the Microsoft Excel app in the sense that everything is happening inside here. You just need to enable some add-ins or COM add-ins, and that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'm afraid this is the end of this video. If you enjoy content like this, you should probably check out my other videos right here. Thank you so much for taking just a little time out of your day to watch this, and I shall see you in the next one.